All right, as for today's session, we are going to have a little bit of what marketing is all about. Yeah, so this session is called Marketing 101. Okay, so please let me know if you guys can't hear me clearly, especially those sitting at the back. I will try to raise my voice. Okay? And those in the Zoom, just bear with me because I have to go back and forth. So, okay, so for the learning outcomes, yeah, as for today's session, because it's just going to be an introductory session, we would like to take a look at the different basic concepts of marketing, and perhaps also to understand better about what marketing mix is and how marketing mix is applied in the business context. And then in that case, if let's say, can I have a show of hands? How many of you have studied high school? You also studied in high school or doing it professionally? So I guess that will be easier for you guys who have already learned about marketing before. Okay, so first, perhaps, yeah, we'll try to take a look at the definition of marketing. Some of the people, when they hear the word marketing, they would always think that marketing is equal to sales. But that is not always the case. Yeah? Sales or sales promotion are actually a part of marketing, but then it doesn't equal to marketing. It isn't equal to marketing. So usually, theoretically speaking, yeah, when we hear the word marketing, it's actually a process of value creation. So we create value for customers, and eventually, what we would like to achieve is strong customer relationships. Yeah. So, for example, obviously, when you have your own business, which I believe some of you have already done so, or when you want to establish your own business, you would always want to have loyal customers. Yeah, you would always want to have customers who have good relationship with you, who have strong relationship with you. And in that case, yeah, you would want to capture value from them. What does it mean by capturing value? If we give values to our customers, what kind of values do we expect in return? What kind of values do we expect from our customers in return? Clear? To come back next time, yeah. So it's a form of loyalty. What else? Before loyalty, we want to get profit from them. Yeah, that's the first and foremost. So the value can be in the form of financial value, or it can be in the form of loyalty, or it can be in the form of word of mouth. Yeah, so you would want people to speak positively about your product or your service. You would want them to invite somebody without having to tell other people, without you having to tell other people, other potential customers, that your product or service is the best one. Yeah, because free recommendation from your existing customers would always be a very nice promotional tool. So it's the reputation that speaks to the potential customers. So you don't have to convince them, but you allow your customers to convince other people who are not your customers yet that your product is indeed the best. Yeah? So that's free promotion. That's what it means by capturing value in return. So what kind of processes that marketing has? Yeah, this is a bit theoretical, but perhaps when I give you some examples, then you will get better ideas. Yeah? So marketing is customer driven. We always go from the point of understanding the marketplace, yeah, and the customer's needs and wants. Okay. So anyone knows the difference between needs and wants? Let's see from the lady. Ashley, you know the difference between needs and wants? You know the difference between needs and wants? Or are they similar or the same? needs. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Yes, when we are talking about basic needs, yes, you're right. That we need food, we need shelter, we need those are basic needs. Yeah? But in the context of marketing, when we say need, everyone needs food, everyone needs drink or beverages. But the wants of the people will be different. You may want to have a burger, for example. Some of you perhaps want to have nasi padang for your lunch and so on. That's the want. Yeah? So we all have the same need, which is the need for food, but our wants will be different. Okay? So there is a difference between needs and wants. And when those wants or those needs are backed by purchasing power, then it becomes demand. Yeah? So you cannot say that you demand nasi padang when you don't have money. But you say, I want nasi padang, for example. Yeah? So needs can only turn into demand when you have purchasing power. Okay? So that's the basic one. And then when you want to design a customer-driven strategy, obviously the understanding of these two things, the marketplace as well as your customers, are of the utmost importance. Yeah? So for example, you cannot cook a nice food without understanding that your customers actually prefer the food to be less salty. You cannot, for example, create a helpful service without understanding what your customers need. Yeah, so for example, let's say take e-commerce. Yeah, they all need a shipping service to get the product to the customers. However, the shipping company, the logistic company, may not understand, may not be able to deliver the best service if they don't have understanding about the attributes that the customers want. Yeah? They, for example, they have to know the speed of the delivery. They have to know, for example, the weight of the package that people frequently send, yeah, so that they can design the nice pricing strategy and so on. So understanding of this is very important to be able to design a customer-driven marketing strategy. The next one is that the marketing strategy itself should help you to create an integrated marketing program. Yeah? Later, we are going to see that marketing program itself doesn't consist of only how we design the best product or service, or how we charge them the most suitable price, or how we actually sell it in a place that is the most accessible. It calls integration of those different factors. You may say, for example, oh, I actually like the product, but the price itself doesn't make sense. Or I actually like the food, but I have to wait for 2 hours to get it ready, for example. So then it's actually a combination of different things to make sure that you are able to deliver value to your customers. Yeah? And eventually, you want to build profitable relationships. You want to make your customers happy. Yeah? You want to make sure that you can capture value from them, you get profits from them, you get loyalty from them, and you get customer equity. Yeah? So when you have reliable customers, when you have loyal customers, usually these customers tend to be less price sensitive. Imagine that people actually are willing to pay for Apple products, even though perhaps technically speaking, features-wise, they are not the most superior. You can get much more superior features by paying the same amount of money to buy iPhones. But then that's kind of loyalty that people do have when it comes to certain brands or certain products. Okay? So this is all about capturing customer value. Do you guys have any questions? The ones in the Zoom, do you guys have any question? If not, then I will move to the next one. How many of you have heard about market segment or target market or perhaps position? Have you heard about this before? Yeah. So perhaps those of you who have site marketing, this is something that is very bread and butter. Yeah, things that we discuss perhaps on daily basis. So in general, we know that we cannot serve all the markets. We cannot say, we cannot serve everyone, we cannot make everyone happy because we have limited resources, we have limited time, and our products may not be suitable for everyone. So therefore, usually what we do first is to segment the market. We divide the market into different segments, and usually we have different bases. I may segment you, for example, based on your gender, maybe based on your age, maybe based on your occupation. Yeah, so those are demographic segmentation. I may segment you based on your lifestyle. Yeah? I will divide those who are into sports and those who are into arts, for example, or into watching movies or whatever. Yeah? Or even among the sport lovers, you can be divided still between the sports that you do most frequently. Yeah? Those are also segmentation. And then what will be the important characteristics? Or those who play football perhaps are very active. They always need to have, they always allocate time, for example, to play football at least once a week. They usually also eat healthy food regularly. They also work out, for example, at home and so on. So those are characteristics. Yeah? Those who watch movies are perhaps also, they can be into certain actors or actresses, yeah? Or they can be into certain movie genre, for example. And they're willing to spend money on the merchandises. Those who love Korean idols, for example, they may be investing also on the merchandise of those Korean idols. Yeah? So those are characteristics, and that can help us to decide which segment is the best to be our customer. Again, because we have limited resources, and not every type of customer is going to be profitable for us based on those differences in characteristics. Yeah. For the next one, another thing is that we need to evaluate the potential of these segments. Yes, you may have even heard things like, for example, if people sell very expensive food, yeah, and then usually people will say that they will give negative comments, yeah, but then some people will say that, oh, if you cannot afford it, then you are not their segment, or you are not their target. Yeah? But basically, targeting itself is the process of evaluating and selecting which one or which ones that can be your potential customers. You have divided the market maybe into 10 different distinct segments, and then you say that, okay, I can only serve these particular segments because those are the segments which I think the most potential and the ones that can actually enjoy my product or service. Yeah? So you can have, for example, an age-based segmentation, and you say that, okay, I will be targeting those that belong to the Gen Z customers. Why? Oh, because they are very techno-savvy, for example. They get bored easily. They have this characteristic and that characteristic. So those are the ones that I want to have as my customers. And once you know them, once you know who your target is or are, then you need to position yourself. Imagine that you are approaching somebody whom you like. You want to place yourself, you want to project yourself as somebody that this person needs, as somebody who is suitable for this person. So what kind of characteristic that this person wants? Oh, he wants or she wants somebody who is fine, who is this and this. And that's how you position yourself in the mind of your target. I am this kind of person, or this product is this kind of product, and it can help you to solve perhaps a particular problem. So that is basically how you do segmentation, targeting, and positioning. First, you define the market, then you select which ones that you would like to serve, and then eventually you position yourself. When you position yourself, remember that you cannot do it in one. Positioning takes time. Yeah? In any sense that if you want to impress people, for example, if you want to make people think positively towards what you can offer, then you have to, do things in a consistent manner. You cannot be nice one day and then unpleasant the next day. Then people will get confused of what kind of person you are. Yeah, so that's how positioning works as well in brand. So you may, for example, notice that some boutiques, they never have discount. You never have a discount outfit, or you never have outfit that is sold in factory outlet. That's how they are being consistent, because that's the positioning that they have chosen in the mind of the customers. You want to be seen as forever, what do you call it? Forever outlet brand that has certain kind of prestige, brand that cannot be afforded with everyone, and so on. And that's how they do things. So the position will stay the same throughout their legacy. Okay? Do you guys have any question so far? Any question? No? Okay, clear. Good. Okay. Oh, I haven't switched on the video yet. Okay, so you may actually also think, yeah, that how do companies survive when they have to serve only selected segments of people, only these people or only those people, yeah? Not to worry. When a company, when a corporation, when an entity actually grows, yeah, they will have some choices to expand their business. Yeah. In some cases, there are matrices and there are frameworks, there are tools that can help them to decide which strategy that they would like to use. For example, yeah, they may actually decide to use the same product to and in the same market. Let's just increase our sales of Robusta coffee. But we may be serving not only those who need to work in the morning, but we will serve those students who may need to do their thesis, for example, those who really need to be waken up, yeah, by our coffee and so on. So we penetrate the market even further. But we don't create a product, we just use the existing Robusta coffee. So there is a penetration, market penetration. But then we think that, oh, actually this market is no longer working. We have to open another branch. So we used to have only a branch in Sultan, for example. Let's try it in a more colorful area, perhaps in North Japan. Because there are a lot of people who love to do culinary things. So let's open a branch there. But we still sell the same type of coffee, for example. So there is a market still. Next one is when we actually create a new product, but for existing market. You may remember that, for example, during the fall season, or maybe during the winter season or Valentine or whatever, any kind of festive season, let's say Starbucks usually has this lineup of new types of beverages. That is actually selling it to the same product, the same market, but by creating new products. It may be temporary, it may be permanent, but in some cases it's actually permanent. We may actually release a new type of sneakers, maybe making this new type of sneakers. Maybe some sporting goods companies celebrating on those coming back to the MU by creating certain type of t-shirt, for example, under the legend. That is the third category. Yeah? And then the last but not least is basically creating new product for the new market. This can be very challenging for organization because it may mean that you venture into the new market by creating product that you have never created before. Imagine that a conglomerate, for example, a multinational company, for example, who has never created an instant noodle product. Yeah, previously this company only creates maybe instant beverages, but it wants to venture into instant noodle products because it believes that this has very important market. So they created instant noodle product for a new market. They want to market it to Malaysia, for example. And so this is called diversification. Or it can be a company which previously is a real estate company, but they want to open a new hospital, for example. And that is also a diversification. Usually it is intended as a way to not keeping all your eggs in one basket. So if let's say one market went bust, yeah, then you still have perhaps other market, or you still be able to survive in another industry. Yeah, that's for diversification. So remember, that's always high risk, high return. Yeah? So if you want to risk yourself, then you have more chances, perhaps. You have higher chances to be able to get more returns. Yeah? But if you are not, if you are a risk-averse person, then it's always better to stick perhaps to existing market, maybe by adding new products. Okay, so these are some choices that organization may choose if they want to grow their business. So far, do you have any question?
Ms. Adila,
Yes.
for product development, it means that we create a new product, into the market, yeah, Miss.
Yeah, new product for existing market.
Oh, for existing market. Oh, okay.
Yeah, new product for existing market. So if you develop new market, it's market development. If you develop the product, it's product development.
Okay.
Any other question from the Zoom? Okay, yeah. Now we arrive to the 4 P's. Yeah, we call it 4 P's because it consists of 4 factors, 4 elements that all start with letter P. Product, price, place, promotion. Yeah. Usually these are basically the tactical things, the things that you may do on daily basis, the things that you do consistently as a way to serve your customers. You always want to have a certain response, right, from the market. You want the product to be accepted. You want people to buy it. You want people to perhaps promote it. And you want it to be accessible, yeah, by the target market that you have. Okay. So marketing mix basically consists of those factors. And that also helps you to do product positioning. Yeah? Imagine that if you are selling luxury goods, if you are selling branded items, you cannot price it in a level that perhaps is accessible by almost anybody. Yeah? If let's say you are positioning your product at like for everyone, so to say, yeah? You cannot price it in a level that is too high that not everyone can actually afford it, and so on. Right? So when we say product, it's not exactly only the item, the physical one, but it is also about all the elements that the physical product may have. So for example, a marker like this may have a label. It may have ink color. It may have a shape or a design, or it may have other features. Yeah? Those are elements of product. It may have certain packaging, for example. It may have branding written on it. Those are elements of product. Yeah? And then you have the price. Again, price can also be a little bit more complicated because it also differs. When you sell something to a person, yeah, you are doing it on a B2C context, business to customer, then it may be a bit more straightforward. Yeah? Available at selected outlets. Do we still have tables and chair? Okay, I think you may have to take care of the sitting arrangement. And then we also have, for example, products that are only sold at selective outlets. Yeah, maybe for example, Mac products, you have iBox, you have Infinity, yeah, and so on. So those are limited items, and nobody else or no other retailers are allowed to sell the products. So they have certain arrangement. Yeah. So this is what we call as fees. In some cases as well, businesses will have to keep inventory. And when you sell things, then you have to have certain stock, right? Otherwise, your customers come and then they may actually be asking questions about the product and you don't have anything left. Yeah? So this is also another thing that you're going to study later because keeping inventory can be expensive. Imagine that you have to rent a warehouse, for example. You have to rent a store. You have to have a designated place for this thing. So this can be a bit tricky. And the same with transportation. If you have a factory out of town, for example, you may have also to think about ways to transport your goods safely. And that can also pose another challenge. Yeah? The last one is promotion. Yeah, I think this is also very interesting, especially if you are a visual person, yeah, because companies have utilized a lot of ways to make sure that they send a message to the customers. Yeah? Some of you perhaps are also accustomed with all the social media marketing activities, which basically aim to promote things. Okay? So these are elements of promotion. You have advertising, you have personal selling, you have sales promotion. Yeah, basically, this is in the form of, let's say, free samples that companies usually give when you purchase certain products. Yeah, let's say you purchase detergent. Sometimes they attach, let's say, a plate or maybe a cup or whatever it is. Yeah, when you have a certain amount of purchase, then they give you something. That is sales promotion. And in some cases, companies also do public relations. Yeah, when they have to release information to the public, when they have to clarify things, for example, when they want to announce things, then they utilize public relations. That is also a form of promotion, yeah, in marketing mix. Any question? Those in the Zoom, do you guys have any question? Okay, so let me ask you then, if you have no question, if this one works only for product, like actual product, would that be different for service? Do they still have the same focus, or do they have additional factors that may influence how service is being done? What will be the difference? How would service be different in terms of the strategy? Usually, for service, there are additional 3 P's. So we call it 7 P's. Yeah? The 3 other P's is people, process, and physical evidence. Imagine you are going to a dentist. Yeah? Usually, what does she or he have on the wall? What does a dentist or a doctor, for example, usually have on the wall? Yes, yes, sometimes posters, yes. Sometimes also the graduate or any kind of certificate that he or she has. Yeah. So that's actually a physical evidence. Yeah. In the education context, for example, here, the projector, the tables and everything are part of the physical evidence. If you go to a restaurant, the table cleanliness, for example, the way the food is presented and so on, those are physical evidence. You will judge a service based on those. Yeah? You will say that, okay, this restaurant looks nice because it has a nice lighting, because it looks spacious, because the waiters and the waitresses dress nicely, yeah? And so on. Those are physical evidences. It gives you assurance that the service delivered is going to be good. The same with doctors as well. You want to know their credentials. You want to know how qualified they are. But in some cases, you may not be asking them, where did you graduate from? Or which subjects have you taken before you became a doctor? But they can show you that, okay, this is, the qualification that I do have. So you can be sure that I will not harm you. I can solve your problem. Yeah? So that's the thing. The second one is process. Yeah? Process itself usually shows how the service is being delivered. In some cases, when, again, I will use restaurant example, you may find that they have transparent boxes for the kitchen that allows you, the visitors, to show how the food is being prepared. That is part of the process as well. Because sometimes we are curious as to how people prepare food. Right? They want to make sure that they use gloves, for example. They want to make sure that they use masks, for example. They want to make sure that they use the right ingredients. So in that case, those are the processes that help you to basically make sure that you are in the right place. That also help you to make sure that they have followed the rules. As they know that in many cases they have what we call as standard operating procedures. So they know that it's going to according to the standard. The third one is the people. Yeah? So you may actually refuse to go for the second time to a very nice restaurant because you have been treated badly. Or you may refuse to take the same airline because, let's say, the stewardess is not very pleasant or whatever. So that is a people. That's the people element in the service. You usually pay attention. We as visitors, we pay attention to those things. So for services, besides these four elements, we have three more elements: people, process, and physical entities. Okay. Do you guys have any question? Yes?
I don't understand the process.
The process. Okay. So say it this way. When you are going to the doctor or to hospital, for example, what kind of steps that you have to take?
You need to register, Miss. Register.
Register, for example, you're going to register. What else?
You have to wait.
Yes, you have to wait. And then maybe you have to take the what do you call it? The queue number, right?
Yeah, the number. Yeah, correct, Miss.
So those are the steps. So that's basically the process. You may find some processes of using the service to be tedious. Yeah, and that may actually lessen your perception towards that particular service. So if you want to provide service, then you need to make sure that the process itself is effective, is quick, for example, yeah, is efficient. It's not going to, let's say you are not very well, and then you have to wait for hours, and then there is no clear queue number, yeah, or maybe the doctor itself doesn't have clear schedules, for example, then it's going to be very tormenting for you as potential customer or as customer. Yeah. So, if let's say you have a business, again, you have to make sure that the process is clear. It doesn't take too much time of the customers, yeah, and the customer is aware that this is the process that you have to take when you want to use our service. So that's what we call as process. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. Any other question? The ones in the Zoom, are you okay?
Clear, Miss.
Already clear, Miss.
Okay, so product, yeah. You know that when it comes to product, a lot of people can actually provide the food. Means that that as a one night, then suddenly you have a lot of household everywhere. You have one thing that becomes an overnight sensation, and then the other people follows. Yeah. So that's when the product becomes a common. You can already see the differences between one brand of household and the other brand of household. It becomes very standardized, it becomes very similar, and there is no difference across brands and across products. Yeah. So in that case, what people do is usually they provide experiences. They provide experiences as a part of additional value to customers. Okay. So let's say if you go to the bank, usually you may have long queues, and that becomes very tiring usually for us customers. Okay? But then they usually provide other things to make the waiting experience to be more pleasant. Maybe they put television sets. Maybe they play relaxing music. Yeah? Maybe they have other kind of entertainment to get you distracted. So this is a way to add on an element of experience that makes your product or service slightly different compared to what the others have to offer. Yeah. An example as well is you may not even know this one, kitty cats. Maybe you have brothers or sisters whose hairs have been cut there. Yeah.
Yes, miss.
What do they offer? Sorry? Yes.
They offer PlayStation, miss. They can play PlayStation, miss.
Yes, so they actually provide additional services as additional values. That may help people from getting, I don't know, maybe for kids, it is a scary experience, right? You have like scissors close to your ears, yeah, and the sound itself may be scary for kids and so on. And for parents, it's also very stressing because you have to wait and the kids may be crying and so on. And they provide things that will distract those kids. So you get to cut your hair and you get to enjoy the things. Starbucks, yeah, even though you know that there are a lot of coffee shops, a lot of cafes, they still manage to be one of the most popular ones because they provide experience. So they provide comfortable place, they provide coffees that are sourced from across the globe. They have merchandises as well, yeah, that make perhaps drinking coffees like a different. They always perhaps put your names on the cups, even though it's often written wrongly, yeah, and so on. So those are additional things that may improve your drinking experience. So that's how it works, okay? How to make sure that you refrain your product or service from being a commodity, from being just a common thing that is similar to what the others have to offer. Okay, packaging as a product. This is, anyone knows what the product is? The one on the left? What does it say?
Trident, miss. Trident.
Yes, Trident. Yes, it's a chewing gum. It's a chewing gum. Yeah, I think it's a chewing gum. I don't know. It's just it's a mint. So it's also.
I think it's two gum, miss. Yeah.
Yes, correct. And then, what does the packaging actually tell you? Can you guess the content just by looking at the packaging? Yeah, this sends that kind of message, right? If the brightens your teeth, yeah, it may not only send the message of making it fresh, but then it shows that, you know, it brightens your teeth and it is similar to teeth, so that you know that it is something to be consumed, yeah, to be eaten orally. So that's the kind of message that it makes. How about the one on the right-hand side?
Cigarette, miss. Cigarette.
Yeah, it's a good. But what is different about it? About the packaging?
There is not a lot of ini, miss, apa sentence gitu, miss. It's just blank.
What is it?
It looks like a coffin.
Yeah, it's a coffin. Yeah, it's a coffin. So what kind of message does it send?
Smoking kills.
Yes, smoking kills. So you don't have to show scary pictures. You don't have to show illnesses that are possibly caused by smoking. But then, you know, that is a strong enough message to say that smoking can actually shorten your lifeline. Yeah. So that's maybe the beauty of packaging. Okay, let's have 5 minutes break, perhaps. Yeah, so that you may want to go to the toilet or maybe want to drink outside, and we'll come back by 9:51.
Thank you, miss.
Thank you. So you are going to be back soon. Yeah, so please come back to your seat.
You said that there's an 3 extra fee for the people.
The extra what? Sorry. Oh, for the service.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was.
Oh, process physical evidence.
physical evidence.
Ah.
The one that you said.
Okay, sorry, just wait for a bit. Okay, is everyone back or are we still waiting for some? Okay. The ones in the Zoom, can you hear me and also see the screen?
Yes, Miss.
Yes.
Okay, so let's discuss a little bit about the pricing. Yeah, so you may know that organization or companies actually utilize a lot of different pricing tactics. Yeah, so for example, you know that for example, if you're taking a line, then you have the economy class, and you have the first class, business class, and so on. And in some cases, they even offer a for economy or other type of upgraded function of the sitting arrangement. And the same goes with, the same goes with sometimes the beverages that people sell. Yeah. So let's say for the budgeted function, you have quality level at 50 out of 100, and it is priced at 1.80 US dollars. Then you have the premium, which is the one in the middle, that is priced at 2.60 and has 70 out of 100 level in terms of quality. Yeah. And then you have the super premium, which is only slightly higher than the premium in terms of quality, but it's priced like at 80 cents more expensive. Yeah. But then in a lot of cases, when people see it this way, when they hear the word budget and premium, and they see that there is like only 80 cents price difference, majority of them will pick the one in the middle. So, that's how they play with this kind of pricing strategy. Sometimes they want you to select the second best or the one in the middle by making it, looks more promising and so on. So that there will be nobody who wants to get the budget version, even though perhaps it's actually more beneficial as well to get the super premium. Yeah, but then you can see also that for 20% of quality level differences, you need to pay 80 cents more. But then here, for the super premium, there is only a 5% increase in terms of quality, but you also need to pay 18 cents extra. Yeah, so that is how they usually do a little bit of strategy, I would say, yes, a little bit of tactic to make sure that people use or select certain level of price, of product price. Okay. How about this? Sometimes when you often hear the term that if you want speed, then you should be willing to pay more. If you want affordability, then you should sacrifice a bit on quality or speed. Yeah? You cannot have best of both worlds most of the time. If you want better things, then you have to pay more. Yeah. In these cases, usually you can actually select the quality dimensions or the trade-off between maybe several choices of attributes. Yeah. So you may actually be able to give forward prices for those who want or those who are willing, who are okay with doing self-service. You may actually also notice that when you purchase food from Grab, they have this self-pickup version, right? Self-pickup choice, when the price is obviously lower because you don't have to pay for the delivery price. But then if you want to have more convenience, if you want it to be more comfortable, then you have to pay a bit extra. Yeah, so that's usually the trade-off between the attributes that a product or service has. If you want to send things and you want to make sure that it arrives faster, then you use the instant one, but it is usually much more expensive. But if you're okay, if you're not in a rush, then you may pick up the same day option, for example. Then obviously you have to, you only need to pay a little bit. So you can pay actually a bit lower than the instant, what do you call it? The instant option. Yeah. So that's about pricing the product. Okay, let's move on to the channel. Yeah. So on your left-hand side, yeah, you can see how the channel may work in terms of B2C contacts, business to customer contacts. So when you purchase, for example, coffee from instant coffee, for example, from a retailer or from a retailer, then it is a customer marketing channel. We are the end customer. We don't use the coffee to create something else or to do business. Yeah? But then if we are a coffee shop owner, we may buy things in bulk. Then we are a part of this business marketing channel. So the coffee producers may have distributors. Yeah? They may have other people who are doing the selling on their behalf. They may have representatives. Yeah? Imagine if a factory has to sell directly to us. We may have to source our products from variety of places. But then, because we have middlemen, we have retailers, we have wholesalers, then we can get it from them. We just need to go to grocery store and get everything that we need. We can just go to coffee shop and get everything. We don't have to source directly from the coffee producer. So that is the function of the middleman and distributor. Obviously, because of the emergence of the e-commerce, we are able to source some things from different producers, from different manufacturers. Yeah? They also utilize e-commerce to sell directly to customers. However, you may need to pay the shipping costs differently. Right? Let's say you purchase soap from Unilever. Yeah? You buy it from Tokopedia, for example. But then you need something else from another producer. So you still have to sacrifice in terms of the cost to get the product. Yeah? Because you cannot get it under one. You have to get it from a variety of sources. So there is also the kind of sacrifice that you have to pay if you have different retailers or distributors. So far, do you guys have any question? Do you have any question? The ones in the Zoom?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, do you have any question?
No, Miss. Not yet, Miss.
So let's move on. So promotion, yeah. Promotion is usually related to conveying information. Yeah? You have the best products, but if nobody else knows about it, then there's no point. You have to first communicate what you have, and you have to convince them that this is the choice. So in that case, it serves two different functions. First one is to, to basically communicate with them, and eventually is to build customer relationship. You want to make sure that they know about you, they trust you, and they will purchase from you instead of from other. So that's the goal of promotion. There are different types of it is very likely kind of organization will use a combination of this. Yeah? You do advertising. In some cases, you may also utilize social media. There's also form of advertising. You have promotional activities. You may give them freebies. Yeah? You may give them discounts. You may actually sell directly to them, and so on. In this case, personal selling is usually utilized by certain types of products. Insurance, for example, or perhaps cosmetic products that have some kind of multi-level channels. Yeah, where you have personal sellers that go to your house, that explain the product to you, that you can buy directly from. That is personal selling. Insurance is usually also the case. So anything that perhaps needs a bit of explaining, that's personal selling. And usually they have designated sales team that usually serve the purpose of communicating the product to customers. In a B2B context, in a business-to-business context, usually there is also a designated team. Yeah, because you have to go to companies, maybe do presentation, maybe negotiate with them. Yeah? Maybe convince them more, maybe also submit proposals and everything. So that is also personal selling. So personal because one person or a team of people actually go and convince the potential customers. Yeah, it's different from advertising. But advertising, generally speaking, you try to reach a wide audience. Yeah, you have billboards, you have television advertising. You have newspaper advertising, or printed advertising, and so on. Okay, and then the one in the middle actually is the rule of thumb, so to say. Yeah. So anything that you send via advertisement actually is also needs to be coherent. It needs to be consistent with the message that you send via other channels. Yeah. You cannot send a very formal message in television advertising, but then you use a colloquial way of addressing people when you advertise in social media. That may cause confusion. Imagine if you are a government body. You are a government body and you want to you create a very formal public service announcement. But then in the social media, like perhaps joke around, we use maybe in terms that are very friendly or whatever. It's okay if you have different audiences. Maybe you want to invest in general public using a public numbers, but you want to attract younger generation and use social media. Yeah? But then the main important thing is that you know what you're trying to send consistent message. You cannot mix things up if you have different audiences. Okay. So usually for promotion, we call it integrated marketing communication. Yeah? So in this case, as I have mentioned, we usually talk about how every message that we send using various YouTube channels will have consistent and strong message. Yeah, if let's say, for example, you are a green company, yeah, you are trying to promote sustainable products, environmentally friendly products, and so on. Those are the messages that you want to be sending to customers. Yeah? And therefore, regardless of whatever channel, whatever methods, tools that you use to convey, there has to be consistency in terms of sending message. Okay, I have a video of I don't know whether you are familiar with this. I think it was quite popular a few years back. Anyone notice this advertisement? Or has ever seen one? Okay, let me try to play it. The one in the Zoom, can you hear the sound?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Miss.
Miss.
Good. Keep on.
Bukalapak emang cincai, harga santai kagak lebay. Dinego aja say, pasti bisa say. Dinego sampai okai. Ayo, semua yang dinego bisa dinego. Nego di tahun jago. Ambil HP saya, tinggal nego sampai cintai. Pilih produknya, langsung klik tombol negonya. Jangan lupa masukin angka nego saya. Setuju harga penawaran atau nego lagi saya. Hanya di Bukalapak periode 26 sampai 31 Januari 2017. Ingat, cuma di Bukalapak say. Dinego aja say, pasti bisa say. Dinego sampai hokai.
Okay, what does this advertisement actually try to tell us? There is a what? Okay, anyone here has ever shopped at Bukalapak before? Never, nobody. Okay. It usually has a little bit of an image of they usually sell second-hand items. Yeah, even though you can still obviously find new things. Yeah, they can. A lot of people who sell second-hand items, if I'm not mistaken, utilize this platform, and I guess they want to promote a sense of being very affordable. Yeah, very. I would say perhaps serving a certain level of audience that would want to bargain when they shop, having a lot of bargain. So that this advertisement actually is intended to emphasize that Bukalapak has a feature that the other e-commerce platforms may have, which is the bargaining function at the time which they sell, which they promote. Okay. So this may not be very common, right? Usually you shop in e-commerce, they will give you fixed price. Occasionally they will give you maybe points, maybe a bit of discounts, maybe some kind of tanggal cantik promotional activities and so on. But then I would say that nobody else has given this kind of feature. So they would like to emphasize that this is a differentiated from us. Okay? But that's what do you call it? That's the thing that they want to say to the targeted audiences. Okay. The next one is let me play this one. Yeah.
OVO bikin raih ikhlas jadi lebih ringan. OVO.
Okay. So what is the advertiser trying to tell us?
Yeah, also have a feature
Mm-hmm.
like getting cash and points.
Okay.
And invest with it.
Yes, so it has different function, yeah, not only to pay things or as a payment method, but also to as an investment platform as well and so on. Okay, so in that case, but before showing that it has this purpose or this feature, what does it want to tell the audience? Speaker? What does it tell the audience? I mean, from the beginning until the end of the advertisement. Okay. It shows us the difficulties perhaps, yeah, the challenges or perhaps the discomforts that maybe almost everyone feels during the pandemic. You know, if you have parents that are staying perhaps out of town, or if you have family members that are not with you, that do not stay with you, or if you are staying with friends or whatever, it made it difficult perhaps to form connection, yeah? To meet them, to perhaps have lunch together and so on. So it shows those kind of challenges or barriers that people face during the pandemic. But then also emphasizes that the need to be accepting, what they call as class, that the need to be accepting to own condition, and shows how the features that it has can actually ease the burden of the people who have been impacted by the pandemic. So, for example, if you cannot meet your parents, then you can do things to help make them happy. If you cannot meet friends, to break fasting, for example, during the Ramadan month, then you can always send food to them and so on. You can always pay for the dinner or whatever. So it shows what you can do besides simply Yeah? So those are some messages that it's trying to send. And you may notice as well that some good advertisement actually never really say that they are selling this and that. They will always wrap it in a way that makes people to understand what they are selling, but then it doesn't make them feel pressurized to purchase. Of soft selling approach. So in that case, when you want to create an advertisement or a promotional activity, yeah, you need to also know your target audience. Yes, because people get smarter. They know that they can always find information outside of the one that you provide them. Yeah, so it's up to you on how you wrap or how you package the kind of information that you want to communicate to your audience. Yeah, information transparency is getting higher and higher during the age of internet. People can always compare prices. People can always check, doing a fact check. Yeah, people can also always do a fact check. So therefore, we need also to be very careful in presenting our business information and make sure that it is factual but persuasive enough for them to be confident. Okay? So that's an example of promotional activity. Any questions? Any question? Move on. Okay, actually I have nothing else, but perhaps we still have about 15 minutes or so, yeah, to discuss. I would like you to perhaps reflect on what we discussed today. Like, what are the things that perhaps you found out for the first time? What are the things that perhaps you have known, but perhaps you are reminded of it today? Can anyone share? Yeah, go ahead.
Today, I learned more about the marketing 4P and the 3Ps for the services. I've learned the 4P of marketing in the past, but I haven't learned about the services for the people, facilities, and process. So I learned something new from that.
Okay, all right. Good, thank you. Maybe one of the ladies. Sorry, the one next to Audrey. Yeah, what's your name? Okay. Cheryl. Okay. So what have you learned today that you haven't perhaps known before? What are the new things that perhaps you just came to know today? Okay. So, yeah. Anything? Okay, maybe I'll move on to bravery first. Maybe you can share with us what are the new things that you learned today and maybe things that you have actually known. Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's clear. All right. Anyone else? Martin? Yeah. What are the new things that you learned? Sorry, what's it? Okay, Jason? All right. Okay. I want to say the same. Okay, so I guess I will give you guys, like every one of you, 5 minutes to think. Yeah. What you need to do is to think about a product or service that you are familiar with, and think about the 4 P's of this product or the 7 P's of this service. Yeah, I will pick maybe 2 or 3 people randomly, yeah, to share with the rest of the class. The same goes with those in Zoom. Yeah, maybe I will pick 1 or 2 from you guys in Zoom to share with us later. Yeah, the 4 P's or the 7 P's of a product or service that you are familiar with. Okay. Any question? Any question? Those guys in Zoom?
Not yet, Miss.
All right, yeah, so I'll give you guys 5 minutes. It's strange that the watch here shows 10:20 and over there is 10:21, but just use this one. So let me call you by name. Yeah, so those in Zoom or in class, just answer me when your name is being called. Okay, Alexander Setia Mulia. Alexander Setia Mulia, are you in Zoom?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Ali Al-Uraidi. Ali Al-Uraidi.
Yes, Miss.
Ali Al-Uraidi, okay. Alti Ramadhani Irfan.
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Angelia Lia. Yeah, thank you. Angeline Laura.
Yes, Miss.
Yes. Arnetta Brenda. Thank you. Ashley Hendrawan. Yeah. Atria Farizki Herwinda. All right, thank you. Ayman Al-Zawahri.
Iya, iya
Yes.
Bu.
Yeah, hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Audrey. Thank you. Benjamin Richard. Thank you. Bravery Godly. Thank you. Calvin Cahyadi. Calvin Cahyadi. Are you in Zoom? Okay, Cheryl?
Yes.
Okay, Calvin is. Cheryl? Yeah, thank you. Devina Kurniawan?
Yes, Bu.
Thank you. Dianza Aditya Ramadhani? Thank you. Eliza Kristila? Eliza, are you in Zoom?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, Farelino Adi Dharma?
Oh, yes, Miss.
Thank you. Felicia Areta? Thank you. Felicity Angelica? Sorry, which one is Felicia and which one is Felicity? Felicia, and you are Felicity. All right, thank you. Verga Deswaga? Thank you. Flavia Priscilla? Yeah, thank you. Fred King David
Yes,
Leon?
Miss.
Yeah, thank you. Genta Abia?
Yes, Miss.
Giorgio Raja Damara? Thank you. Then we have 3 pages. Hadit Wicaksono? Hadit Wicaksono? Not here. Hana Halim?
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Imane Butaleb? Imane? Jason Arya Wijaya? Thank you. Jefferson Bahtiar? Jefferson Bahtiar?
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Kezia Laureta?
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Just give me a second. Leonard Yalidona?
Oh, yes, Miss.
Marky Pili Santoso? Thank you. Marvella?
Yes,
Marvela, yes, okay. Melvin Adi Prayoga Wijaya. Melvin. Here, Muhammad Aufa Dildar. Muhammad Aufa. Muhammad Axel. Muhammad Axel. Can you speak a bit louder? Yeah, okay. Muhammad
Here,
Fifa.
I'm here.
All right, thank you. Muhammad Fifan Suryandrana.
Yes, Miss, I'm here.
Thank you. Musa Abrar Shah Almeka. Musa Abrar Shah Almeka. Malvin Adira Chandra. Malvin Aldira Chandra. Natalie Francis. Thank you. Nicholas Chandra. Thank you. Omar Sena Alamsyah. Omar Sena Alamsyah. Rachel Ong.
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Rachel Salsabila Senoaji. Rachel Salsabila. Radit Mahir.
Yes, Miss, I'm here.
Thank you. Rafli Brahma Yuda Ardian Setiadi. Rafli Brahma. No. Rajwa Wibowo. Okay, thank you. Renaldo Adrian Kusumo.
Here, Miss.
Thank you. Sarah Rai Menzel.
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Shalimar Veda. Sherlyn.
Yes,
Sherlyn.
Miss.
Yeah, thank you. Scholastica Vendra. Thank you. Shahlendra Sumali. Thank you. Teresa Josibel.
Here, Miss.
Thank you. Timothy Edward Lucas.
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Triana Novita.
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Yoka Albertan.
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Ziwang Guna Gandito.
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Anyone whose names I haven't called? Okay, Malvin. Who else? Imani. Okay. Malvin, Imani. All right.
I'm sorry, Miss.
Yeah, sorry. Anyone whose
My
names?
mic was off.
Oh yeah. Okay. Malvin is here. Imani, you are here as well. Rachel Salimat. Sorry, Rachel Sasabila. Sorry.
Yes, Miss.
All right. So you are here. Shalimar Veda. All right. So let's start again. We have about 10 minutes. Yeah. So, okay. So who wants to actually share with the rest of the class? Yeah. Which service perhaps that you guys use or you are familiar with, and what kind of 4Ps or 7P strategy? Yeah. Felicity, maybe you want to share? McDonald's. Okay. So what are the 4Ps of McDonald's? The package as in the bundle. Okay. Let's say, for example, the meal package. Maybe for the breakfast, they have the breakfast package. And so on. Okay. How about the pricing? Pricing is very cheap. Okay, once they have the banners and everything. Okay, what else? All right, yeah. For pricing, when they say affordable pricing, these trusted companies usually they utilize what we call as platform price. So usually you will get cheaper price if you order burger price instead of order to the separate. So this is simply called price balancing strategy. And that's one method of pricing that we will do. Okay, thank you. Let's hear from Shailendra. Right? What is the part of service that you use regularly that you are familiar with? Correct. Okay.
For pricing, maybe there's a lot of discounts, and there's a lot of payment methods like debit or cash.
That's all. Okay. So you are referring to GrabFood or you are referring to Grab services in general? Any kind of services. Okay. So Grab is quite interesting because I don't know whether they still use it or not. Yeah, but transportation or platform transportation service like Uber as well as car, for example, they often have this in-demand pricing. So if you, let's say you want to travel to college or you want to travel to your office, for example, and usually there is a peak in terms of demand, the price tends to be higher. So they usually adjust the price accordingly, not so much on the distance between the house and the university, for example, but also depends on the timing and on the other situational factors that may be involved when you use the service. Okay? The same with, let's say, cinema. You may get cheaper prices when you watch it on weekdays compared to when you watch it during weekends. Okay, so this is also some kind of segmentation pricing that they use to differentiate between those cinema goers who can only go on weekends and those who may have free time. They can go on weekdays, and perhaps those who actually aim for lower prices of watching movies. Yeah? Okay, any other question? Anyone else want to share? Atria, right? Satria or Atria? Yeah. Yeah. Can you share with us? So what part of our service did you use as a context? Do you mind speaking a bit louder? Sorry, what is the part of the service? Oh, project. Okay. Okay, when we talk about project or Grab or whatever transportation or perhaps food delivery service that you guys, what will be the physical evidence that you can use to evaluate the service? Yes, if it is transportation, perhaps the car, the clearness of the car. If it is food delivery, how would you judge or evaluate the quality of the service? Yeah, process. Maybe how fast or what else? Yeah, maybe the ratings, right? That's the easiest. So you evaluate the key based on the ratings, yeah? Based on the food presentation, the photos that we upload, yeah, on the platforms. Yeah, very important of the service as well depends on the state of the delivery. Yeah, so for example, if it's still within, I don't know, 30 minutes, yeah, if it's still within 30 minutes, then you may consider to be able to deliver good service. You may also notice that, especially for project, if I'm not mistaken, they will give like estimate arrival time. Right? And if it exceeds, then usually they would sometimes like kind of like apologize for taking longer time than expected to deliver the food to you, for example. That is also a way as taking care of the process and making sure that the customers are satisfied with the service. All right? Okay, any other question? What time is your next session? 11. Yeah. All right, so class is dismissed. Yeah, thank you very much for participating today. And next will be consumer behavior. Thank you. Have you received the slide? Have you received the slides?
Yes.
All right.
Send it to everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone in Zoom.
Thank you, Miss.
See you.
Thank you,